if you wouldn't be receptive to it yourself, or if you wouldn't respond to a particular tactic, chances are other people aren't going to respond to that.
Welcome to the Content Amplified podcast, brought to you by Masset. Our goal is to help you get more from your marketing content. Each episode is a 10 to 15 minute interview with industry experts that share amazing insights to help you squeeze as much juice from your content as you possibly can. Here's today's interview.
Welcome back to another episode of Content Amplified. Today I'm joined by RJ. RJ, welcome to the show.
Hi, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm excited to have you here. RJ, before we dive into the subject, which I'm really excited about, maybe just share a little bit about your background, what you love about marketing and content, and kind of set the stage and let us get to know you.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So I started about 20 years ago. My first job was working in the athletic department at Syracuse University, and we would take coaches' film. We recorded film of our team and the opponents, and we would prepare it for the coaches to scout and build their game plans off of. And I transitioned that into, you talk about content, into what I thought was a ripe opportunity in the college athletics business or industry, which was social media. And so I put together a pitch for our team to have more of a social media presence. And the impetus of that was that we wanted to create content that humanized the players. We weren't performing very well in the field, so I wanted to bring a little bit more relatability to the team by showcasing how they prepared, what it was like behind the scenes, that kind of information. And so I think when you translate that from content, it's like, how do you bring stuff that people normally would not experience out into the limelight? Reality shows, of course, do this kind of thing all the time, and it works. After 10 years there, I moved into a role that I'm in now at Terakeet, where I was the first marketing hire. We're now up to about 10 people. And throughout that process, I've held a number of different roles. Now the senior director of the marketing department. And what I aim to do, what I'm tasked with doing in my role, is just to help build the brand, the awareness, and the demand for what we as a company do, which is to support Fortune 500 brands in their marketing efforts, a lot of which comes back around to content marketing.
I love it. I love it. It's so cool how everyone has this unique pathway into marketing, and it's never the same pathway. And it's so cool that kind of the industry will find the people that are ripe for it. So I think that that's really, really interesting and really cool.
Yeah, I love the idea that you don't necessarily, getting an education in marketing helps, but I think having an awareness of how people act and behave is really the core skill that you need to translate that into marketing if you're interested. And people, like you said, who are interested find their way to it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus the variety of backgrounds and the different experiences, it's all about relatability. It's, can I empathize with my target market? Do I understand them? Can I write to them, speak to them? And, honestly, that comes from a variety of different ways to be able to do that in a variety of different backgrounds and experiences. So I love that. So that's why it's one of my favorite questions is, how did you get into marketing? Because everyone has a unique story. And if anyone's trying to figure out if they want to get into marketing that's listening to this, there's a million different pathways and there's a million different things that you can do. But if you love content and if you love, talking to specific people, then marketing might be an avenue for you. So I think that's really cool.
Absolutely.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about a couple of things that I'm really excited to learn about. So RJ, we had kind of emailed and talked a little bit about this reception marketing. It's a term I don't know if I've ever actually really focused on or heard before. What are your thoughts? What does reception marketing mean, and how is that different from other marketing tactics and strategies?
So Terakeet has coined the phrase reception marketing, and so we're trying to get the word out on it, and something we feel strongly about because the era of consumer empowerment that we're in right now, where anyone, yourself, myself, anyone who's looking to buy something is taking it upon themselves to learn more about it, they're really owning their journey. And what we found is that about 20 years ago, Seth Godin wrote a book called Permission Marketing, where he juxtaposed the old traditional way of marketing through advertising as being interruptive. It steps in front of the consumer when they're going about their day and it puts this message out there. It's very one-way conversation. And then he said, we're in this stage now of permission marketing, where the best bet is to get the permission of the consumer so that you can then market to them. A lot of that is summarized in email marketing, which was really just starting to become popular, and tech was coming out that would enable brands and individuals to do that. So with their permission, you can then market to them. Anyone who signed up for that 20% off of the pair of sunglasses and gotten the emails daily afterwards knows that permission marketing does not really work the way that it once did. And it's really become interruptive. You go to your inbox to see certain information. It's very rarely that 35th marketing email from the sunglass company. So what we've started to understand is that consumers were shifting in how they behaved. And really two things changed that. The first was in around 2007, 2008, Netflix streaming. And now all of a sudden they changed their model from mail-in DVDs to streaming, essentially content on demand. And you couple that with the frequency of smartphones and everyone having smartphones in their pockets all the time, and they can research products in store. They can do a lot of that information gathering on their own. And that led to this surge of empowerment where the consumers are in control. It only got sped up with COVID because now everyone's at home. They're doing as much of their shopping as they can, but they're looking at everything before they buy. And so what content you have out there will help to determine whether or not the brand is being put in the best light and the consumer will want to buy from them. And so we've coined the phrase reception marketing as the next evolution in the interruption marketing to permission marketing to now reception marketing. And the reason we chose reception is it's kind of a play on words. It's got two meanings. It's reception, meaning what will they be receptive to, what information, but it's also the reception or the frequency that the consumer is on, and how do you tailor the content that you're delivering them to match the frequency that they're on. So, for example, have you ever heard of the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon?
I haven't. No. I feel like this is something I should know. This is awesome.
You've experienced it, I'm sure.
Okay.
So it's like the idea of, if I noticed it when my wife was pregnant. You notice every pregnant woman that's there, right? But I don't know that I've necessarily noticed a pregnant woman since, except for friends or family. If you're searching for a particular type of car, all of a sudden now you see them all over the highway, right?
We bought a Tesla, and my kids will now point out every Tesla they ever see all the time.
And I promise you, and you can tell them this, there are not more Teslas on the road now than there were 3 months ago or whatever. But they're tuned into it, right? That's the frequency that their brains are operating on. And so they're going to notice that. And so reception marketing takes a step back and says, what are our consumers looking for? What are they interested in? We use organic search to help us to decide what the masses are searching for. I like to call it the world's most honest focus group, because you share your vulnerabilities in search, right? You might say things that you wouldn't say to your spouse in Google to try to identify information. You don't want to admit to your buddies that you don't know what a certain thing is. So you will go to Google for it, right? So everyone's vulnerable there. Everyone's being their most honest, true selves. And if you gather that information, are able to process it, which Terakeet can, you start to understand trends and patterns and what consumers are after and what they'll be receptive to if you can create, deliver, and then market the content to match those questions and concerns. So that frequency idea comes from all of that and really identifying what they'll be receptive to in order to perform reception marketing.
I love that. That's very cool. I love the progression and the journey of marketing, the interruption, the permission, the reception based. I think that's really, really powerful. So what does that look like in practice? Like what can businesses do to really embrace this movement? Because I agree. I think this is relative, like this reception, the people are looking, they're researching, they're learning, and that's how they want to buy. In fact, there's all sorts of studies in B2B where buyers up to over like crazy amounts of money do not want to talk to sales reps sometimes.
Yeah.
They want all of this information beforehand. And so it's really fascinating that they have the control. So as a business, how do I implement reception marketing into my content marketing, into what I'm doing as a business.
So one of the things I like that you said about how, people don't want to talk to a sales rep. One of the things that I've tried to remind myself in guiding the team to do the marketing we do is, if you wouldn't be receptive to it yourself, or if you wouldn't respond to a particular tactic, chances are other people aren't going to respond to that. And if you think about it, like we're trying to get the attention of CMOs in the Fortune 500, as busy as we feel like we are, they're being pulled in even more directions, and their time is even more scarce. So if we don't have time for this, they're not going to have time for this. And so to answer your question, the way that we've best found brands can perform, there's a number of ways you could do it with this concept of reception marketing, but we provide a service, a managed service, leveraging technology called owned asset optimization. And it's the difference between owned asset optimization and other forms of marketing historically is that it takes a asset first approach. So we really focus on the particular piece of content that was developed with this consumer-based research that I talked about, as far as leveraging organic search, other desktop research to understand the persona, and packaging it into a piece of content that can then be delivered to the customers when they want it. And so connecting with them in the moments that matter is really the overall approach to it. And it is asset focused, but channel agnostic. So we don't focus on the channel. You'll see a lot of marketers that could say like, well, we need a YouTube presence, so let's go build out a YouTube channel. And my response to that is, with what content? You need to start with what the content is, who the consumer is, and what they're actually looking for to solve their problems. And then you can figure out how to atomize it, how to break it up into the right pieces and the right formats in order to resonate with the consumer. And so owned asset optimization focuses on, how do we squeeze every ounce of value out of this piece of content? How do we ensure that the content that you own, the channels that you own, starting with your website, your blog, things that you have full control over, how do you maximize the value and the return off of that content? Because however people get to it, organic search is a primary channel for the work we do, but however people get to that content that we've developed, optimized, and perfected the user experience for, they're going to convert on that page, whether it comes from social or from email. So it's the asset first, and then the channels follow.
I love that. I love this philosophy so much. You're right. Like, often we focus on the channel first. It's great. Well, we got to have a presence in all these channels. Really what we need to ask ourselves is, what does our target market actually want? Like, what information can we provide that actually provides value? What's the format that they actually want to consume it in? Like, are they always on the go and want something in audio format? Or do they prefer short form video? Or do they like hour-long webinars? Or are they big readers? Does it, do they want a novel of some kind of content? Figuring that out, figuring out what you can provide, and then saying, okay, now what channels can we use to help get this in front of people? Because we know if we get them in front of it, they're going to enjoy it, because we've already proven the content's good, the format's good, the audience likes it. Now we pick our channels instead of, well, let's do channels and try to follow trends and things like that. Or it's like, we're producing content no one cares about. We're just trying to optimize for the channel and not for the consumer. So I love that you focus on the content first. And
it's the same people, right? So those same people that are searching in Google might also be poking around on YouTube or watching TikTok. And so it's understanding that those same individuals are going to respond to that content no matter where they see it, if they're active on those channels and it's the right content.
Yeah, I love that. Plus, often, like you said, it takes a few touch points for people to really feel like they're seeing it a lot enough to take action. No matter how good your content is, if they don't see it in multiple formats and multiple places and multiple times, they may never engage with it. But I love that you're focused, really on the bottom of the funnel or the end of the journey first, to say, okay, if I can get someone here, are they going to take the action I want them to? Yeah. Only then, when the content is right, now do I go spend the money and the effort on actually getting it in front of people. So I love that approach. I think that's something we often get backwards.
Something else that's powerful about OAO, I like that you said the bottom of the funnel, because ultimately that's where the dollars and cents come in, right? You need those conversions. Yeah. But what we've tried to prioritize and to drum up the importance of is, especially with a lot of high consideration products or businesses where people are doing a lot of research. You probably read a bunch about Teslas. And it's building that relationship with the individual before they need you. So, transactional content is important because it drives the sale. But how do you get someone more likely to buy from you rather than from someone else? You can't hope to. I know we're coming up on time, but I love the example from good. Apollo 13, where they talk about the ship is coming in, and they use on the newscast that you've got the basketball and you've got the softball, and if those are the sizes, they're going to have to hit this angle that's no thicker than a piece of paper. And when you think about how consumers behave, that's the angle that you're going to have to come in on to get their attention if you haven't built a relationship throughout their journey. So the sooner you can deliver them value without requiring or wanting or asking for a sale, the more likely they are to come back to you, because now you've got them in your ecosystem. You've built trust, you've built authority, you've built some sort of reciprocity where, hey, this person, Ben's content has really delivered all this value to me. I'm going to go buy from him because he's been there for me from the start. And not only has it been effective, but I kind of feel like I owe him that much.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of value in serving the full funnel or the full journey and being supportive before they need you. I think of it like consumer service rather than customer service, right? Customers are people who have purchased from you. If you can help them when they're still consumers and they haven't given you anything yet, it builds that feeling of camaraderie and trust and a relationship that you can maximize later on.
100%. I love that. Yeah. The statistics I've read are 97% of people are not ready to buy yet. Even in your addressable market, they're not ready to buy.
Yes.
Bottom of the funnel is great for the 3%, and that it serves its purpose. The 97%, it is providing value in a relationship so that when they transition into the 3%, that they think of you first. Like you've got a legitimate shot at this. Yeah. I know there's a company, and it's not like a B2B or tech example, but I love this company here locally. It's a tire shop. And for some reason, I don't know why, I have like the worst luck in getting nails in my tires. It happens to me all the time. But I just drive it up to this tire shop, and they will fix and patch my tires for free. I offer to pay them every single time. They refuse to take payment. But now, and again, I'm in the 97%. Most of my tires right now are pretty good. Right. But when they do wear down, you can better believe that they are always top of mind of I should buy new tires from them. And they understand this concept that they're providing that consumer value early on so that I trust them and I feel almost obligated to buy from them because they provided me all this free service. And it takes them 5 minutes, to fix my tire. But now they know they've got a customer for life that's going to love them.
And the car business is already ripe with distrust. A lot of consumers feel like the mechanic might be out to get them, or the sales guy is going to rip them off. So building that trust and breaking down any concerns is massive for them, because now when they quote you, you're not concerned that they're overcharging.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Well, RJ, I've learned a ton. I really love this philosophy. There's brand new terminology that I can now throw in my playbook. I love it. This is super cool. RJ, if anyone wants to continue the conversation online and connect with you, how can they find you?
I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm talking about these concepts weekly. So definitely connect with me there, and let me know how you found me. That'd be great.
Love it. Love it. Awesome. Well, again, RJ, thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you for listening to the Content Amplified podcast. Please subscribe and leave us a review. And for additional ways to get more out of your content, visit our website at getmasset.com. That's getmasset.com. And tune in next time to the Content Amplified podcast.